Hi, I'm Tameika Isaac Devine. I'm a wife, a mom, an entrepreneur, and a city councilwoman.
Hello, I'm Jamie Devine, a husband, a father, and a community champion. I've been married to my wife Tameika for over 15 years.
Join us as we interview some of our favorite couples, hear their stories, and be inspired.
The secret to our successful marriage is that we are very intentional about our date nights.
Marriage is a partnership.
Hi, I'm Tameika.
And I'm Jamie.
And
we are the Devines.
And thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Date Night with the Devines. Welcome. And for those of you who are joining us for another week, thank you so much for joining us again. And for those of us who might be joining us for the first time, thank you so much for tuning in. And we hope that you enjoy the show and join us again. Date Night with the Devines is a show that we started about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, really in response to folks who were liking our social media posts and commenting about how cute they thought we were and how we inspired them. And they loved seeing our date nights and us as a couple. And so we thought that it would be a great idea to bring you other amazing couples, folks who are making marriage work, folks who have been through things and came out on the other side better for it and want to share their stories, and other folks who've just been in the marriage thing so long that they have wisdom that they can share with all of us. And so tonight is exciting. We are going to welcome Chris and Keisha Bass to the show. Hi guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Well, thank you. Just real quick, I want to introduce Keisha and Chris. So Chris and Keisha are celebrating 31 years of marriage on November 25th. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You must have got married at 10 because you guys don't look like you could have been married 30 years.
Exactly.
It's the water. It's the water.
Right.
Let me get some of that. Then we're going to call it the Divine Water.
There you go.
But they do have two adult children, Lakia and Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Chris and Keisha are advocates for promoting healthy marriage. They believe you get out of marriage what you put into it. Their strategy is to provide transparency when coaching and mentoring other couples. Their journey wasn't and hasn't always been easy. But on tonight, we will hear a little bit about their journey and to where they are today. They cycled for many years when they first got married because they didn't have an example of how to follow as a married couple. They never done this before, so it caused growing pains that were hard and uncomfortable. But that said, they feel it's so important to communicate the good, the bad, and the ugly. So couples have a realistic view of marriage, setting expectations, defining boundaries, and understanding all levels of communications are the primary areas that they hone in when they do coaching when they coach other couples. And they want society to know that strong marriages still exist. And yes, that is so true. So again, welcome tonight, Chris and Keisha Bass.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so I just have to share for our viewers, people know that Jamie and I are people of faith, and God is very important in our marriage, as is I know you. And I just have to share with everybody kind of this testimony on how we actually got together. So guys, we actually have never met before, really today. Unlike, a lot of the guests we have, but just amazing how God works. We had another couple scheduled for this month who something came up and they were unable to join us. And the same day that they said they weren't able to join us, Keisha and I appeared on a radio show, a local radio talk show together. And she was talking about what she does in that radio show. And I just said, look at God. I mean, this is a perfect couple. She said she shared that day that they were about to make 31 years of marriage. And she was talking about just their belief in a strong marriage and that you need to understand how important marriage is. And you didn't say this, Keisha, but what you said goes aligns to what we say is that, and that our theme song, that marriage is a partnership and that it is a covenant with God that, you have to work at, just like anything else is worth having. But that sometimes when you know and have the tools necessary to be successful, then you can make it through. And so I was just like, this is perfect. And so I just share that testimony because, it is amazing how God works in our lives. And just hearing you guys' story and us meeting you for the first time, we see that so many synergies and connections. And so we're honored to have you on Date Night with the Devines tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're glad to hear it.
So let's start a little bit about just introducing yourselves to those who are watching. Tell us a little bit about Chris and Keisha, and then also share your how did you guys meet?
Okay, well, you go first, baby.
Okay. Well, my name is Chris Bass. I'm an account manager at Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Blue Choice Health Plan, and I've been with the company 29 years. And I'm looking forward to retiring, in a few years. And so I'm really excited about that. And just trying to, see, where I want to go next. Keisha and I actually met, oh, wow, in elementary school.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah.
I didn't like him then, though. My grandmother loved him.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, that's true. I actually met her grandmother before I met her.
Mhm.
And and years later, after we got married, her grandmother and I was talking one day, and she told me the first time she saw me when I was 5 years old coming through the cafeteria line. She said one day that little boy is going to be my son-in-law, and it came to pass. So yeah, so it just blew my mind that
She worked at the school.
she was a cook at the school, and I was going through the lunch line, and she prophesied it when I was 5 years old, and and God, man, I couldn't believe it actually came true, and it just when she told me that story, it just gave me goosebumps. I was like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So just a little bit about me. My name is Keisha. I work for Blue Cross Blue Shield as well. I work in the information systems department. I've been at Blue Cross probably, I want to say about 19 years. I left, went to a software company and came back. And I've been at Blue Cross ever since. And so, and then I have my little side hustle. And so that's what we do now. And you already talked about how we met. I will say this though. So we met in second grade. It was kind of like a drive-by. Then and then maybe in was it middle school?
Yeah, middle school.
Because my mom, she lives in Pennsylvania, and my sister and I, we would go back and forth between Georgia and Pennsylvania to live and go to school. And so in the seventh grade, I think it was, I saw him again. I was like, no. And then he didn't tell this story, but let me just say this real quickly. So it was a summer of before our senior year. And I was walking down the street in a cute yellow dress, and he stopped the car and had to come back. So that's how we really, that was really the beginning of where we are today. So, that yellow dress, I kept it for probably about 10 years and then couldn't fit it anymore, but that yellow dress stopped him in his tracks.
Yeah, that's right. The yellow dress messed up my summer vacation. So.
Amen at you. Amen at you. I guess it was very bright.
Right.
Very bright. So
That's right.
all good. All good. Well, good. So as you're telling the story, so tell us, Chris, how did you know she was the one for you?
Well, that's a funny story. I during high school, I didn't have a girlfriend per se. I was trying to choose, which girl I wanted to kind of, settle down with. So yeah. So I had, 4 or 5, girls that I was interested in at the same time, and I was trying to, make this decision who's right for me. And I never forget it. I think I told Keisha this story a couple of years ago. We were sitting in English class, and this lady named Mrs. Hodges, and I was sitting there, just doodling on paper, trying to figure out, what I'm gonna do. Senior prom was coming soon. I said, man, I got to make some decisions. And I looked over, and Keisha was in my class, so I looked over to the left, and this bright light just kind of illuminated around Keisha. I was like, man. So it was like God was telling me, that's the one for you. And I was like, I was like, nah, it can't be because I really like red bone, light skinned girls.
He didn't like the child.
Yeah, and nah, it can't be. And but I decided to pursue her and talk to her. Then she was trying to play hard to get and all that stuff, and I was like, Lord, maybe maybe she I missed it or something.
That's
And
how they do.
yeah, so long story short, we finally started talking and dating seriously, and we end up going to the prom together, and just been together ever since.
Wow.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So let me follow up and ask you. So if that
Mhm.
was high school. So how was that transition? Because that's a young, tender age, and most people feel like oh, I need to sow my oats. I might need to separate for a bit. How was that transition from like high school sweethearts to dealing, with after high school and then into your younger adult years? I mean, was there kind of some ups and downs, or was there some like, not sure if I'm going to do this? How did y'all kind of deal with that?
So we got married. I was 19, he was 20. And so with not having any experience, it was extremely challenging. Oh my God. And then on top of that, I hate to say it, but I was pregnant. So I was 4 months pregnant. This is just TMI, but I'm sure just because. So he was my first, but then we got pregnant. And so got pregnant. We had already decided that we were going to get married before we learned that we were expecting. And so of course we say you're not supposed to have sex before marriage. At that time, we had no relationship with God. I mean, I was raised in the church. And so when I told my mom that I was pregnant, oh my God. I mean, I was scared because I came from Church of God in Christ. And so that was a no-no. And so, and I felt embarrassed, but then at the same time, we knew that this is the plan that God had for us. So we moved our wedding date up and we got married. And yeah, it was extremely challenging because then we were on our own.
Right.
My mom, she's not married. And so his mom wasn't married. And so we just didn't have any guidance. And then being young, being a wife, being a mother, it was so hard. So I want to say the first 5 years, we lived in Georgia, then we moved to Pennsylvania for 5 years. And those 5 years, we learned, I don't even know if we learned anything about each other because we were so in our emotions. We were still young, trying to figure out, number one, what was marriage? What was the role of a husband? What was the role of a wife? How can I be a mom by that time I was 20. And so it was hard. It was something that, God, he allowed us to go through for us to be where we are today. And so, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
Yeah, when she mentioned the ups and downs, I can definitely think back and kind of relate to the ups and downs because the reason we had so many ups and downs is one because like you said, we didn't have any examples of a healthy marriage, and then I know for me, I was getting a lot of bad advice from people that either wasn't married or that if they were, they was in a bad marriage or bad relationship, and they was giving me the wrong advice. And some of the things that I was getting from my friends, my cousins, my brothers, it was just causing so much turmoil and stress, for Keisha and between us. So we used to argue and fight a lot because I thought I was doing, what I was supposed to do based on, what my friends and cousins and family was telling me. I thought, this was the right way. But later, and down the road, I found out, that was wrong. And so we cycled for many years. We just kept going around and around. Kept doing the same thing and getting the same results. We was we was looking for different results, but we kept getting the same thing. So it was really hard, and being young and trying to hang with friends at the same time. It was
I can I can imagine. I can
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
So, at what point did you all realize that um, the cycle, as you say, was okay? We got to break this cycle. We got to stop what we're doing. What point did you say, was it 5 years, 10 years, 20 years into the marriage? You realize, whoa, let's do something a little different. We'll try something a little different so that we can be different and have the outcome that we want. When did y'all realize that? You know.
Yeah, Jamie, I think it was around maybe year 10.
10.
Yeah, around year 10.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I know for me, I wanted, something different. I just didn't want to, see my wife, unhappy, and so I had to start learning, from those mistakes. So I said, wait a minute, I can't keep doing the same thing because I'm getting the same results. So I have to do something different. So when I started to change my environment, that really helped me a whole lot.
Mm,
Um, I wasn't going to church a whole lot, so I started going to church, a little bit. And I met a pastor in Pennsylvania, and he started to pour in me, and talk to me and spend time with me and share some things. So that really helped me. And so I had to get away from some of the people that I was around,
mm,
because your environment affects your nature. So once I changed my environment and started hearing different things and seeing different things, it started helping me be a better person. So that was a biggie for me, just changing, my environment and my association with certain people, and that really put me on the right track.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me ask you this. So when you started changing the environment and the association, um, how did those associates react? Like sometimes people are like,
yeah.
well, oh,
Yeah,
because you got this woman, you think you better than us or whatever. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
go through
You,
You hit the
yeah, you,
nail
you
on
hit
the
it on the
head.
head, Tamika. You hit it on the head. A lot
that.
of
We've been there. We've been there.
yeah, a lot of the pushback that I received was from my own family. And because I wasn't putting, my wife first, as the Bible said, I was putting, my family first. And when I started to change, people started to get upset with me.
Mhm.
And I was really isolated for years. I was on like an island by myself. I was kind of cut off from my family because I wanted to do something different. And I wanted to make sure that she always came first. But they just couldn't accept that. And so I said, wait, if you don't accept that, then we have nothing else to talk about. So I was really lonely for a while when it comes to my family. I heard all kind of stuff. Yeah, you guys think y'all better than us. You too good to hang out with us. It was just all kinds of stuff. And I just use that time and that energy just to get closer to my wife and my family. And thank God, her mom, me and her super close. We talk every day, sometimes twice a day, even to today. And I think she called me more than she called you, I believe, babe.
Yes.
And so she was, very instrumental into, bringing me into, her family, and just treating me like a son, So it was really life changing for me. But that time that I went through that with my family, it was very difficult. But over the years, they finally, came around because I wasn't going to change.
For
You
sure.
know, yeah, I wasn't going to change. So
That's good.
So,
mhm.
Keisha, what was your thought process, or what were you going through when he was going through this kind of transformation?
To be honest, it really didn't affect me because my family was accepting. My family,
Mhm.
it was like my family, we were the peace, so to speak. And
Mhm.
so it was just
Yeah.
different. I felt bad for him because I never forget, he had a conversation with his family. He told them that Keisha comes first, that I came first. And yeah, it didn't go well.
Right.
And at that time, we weren't so in the church, so to speak.
Mhm.
We had a relationship with God, but at that time, I saw where God was just leading him, that God was doing his thing in him. And so what I had to learn to do was take my hands and my mouth off of him. And so even though he was going through all of that with his family, of course, we still had those issues in the background. And it just showed me, it gave me such a level of respect for him when he put me first, because those 10 years before, those years were challenging. And then he did a 180. And I know that it was God. And it came from those prayers that even though I wasn't in the church, I was faithfully praying, asking God to guide us, to lead us, and to help him become the man that he needs him to be. Not the man that I wanted him to be, but who God wanted him to be for us in our family. And God did that thing. And yes, he was on the island by himself, but that was necessary for him to be where he is today. So all of that, yes, I hated it for him, but he still had a loving family. My family just pulled him in, and he was just like my mom. She, like he said, calls him more. And so it was hard to see, but I was very appreciative of the sacrifices that he made for me. That just put him on a different level for me.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about, and so you talked about the first 10 years. So let's talk a little bit about those, I guess, those second 10 years, going on year 30. So about midway through, you had the kids. So how did you all spend time with each other, date night, if you will, after those 10 years, or even prior to? So when the kids were younger, let me just say that, or when the kids were in the house, how did you all spend time together, date night and otherwise?
You want to answer that?
Let me see. Wow, that was a long time ago.
I know, right?
I do remember being very fond of Saturday nights. I think that was kind of the only like time that we kind of got, to ourselves, so to speak. I remember, like VHS, was big back then. And I remember, getting a VHS tape, and we'll go get something to eat, fast food. Back then, we didn't have a lot of money, so we'd go, treat ourselves to, something to eat, and we a lot of times bring it back home, and then we'll drop a tape in and watch a movie. One of our favorite movies is Love Jones.
Ooh, yes.
And
Favorite movie of all time. I know.
Hey, we have the poster upstairs in our movie room. We got a Love Jones poster.
I love Jones.
Yeah, so so little things like that was very precious to us. Those Saturday nights, when the kids were either sleep, or they was away at some of their friends' house, sleepover or something. We definitely took advantages of those times, and try to spend every moment together. So I was very fond of those. I can still feel it now that I'm thinking back. I had to go back and get that one.
You had to dig.
I got you. I want you to think just a little bit. Just want you to think. That's all good.
Yeah.
So now y'all are empty nesters. Let me ask that same question, but in a different way. So now, you're empty nesters. And one of the things that we find, and reason why we always advocate date nights, especially like us, we've got, a 15-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 3-year-old. So, I mean, it'll be a long time before we're empty nesters. But what we find is that sometimes when people are empty nesters, they find that they really don't know each other. That they had spent all their time being parents. They forgot about being partners. And for you guys, it's even more so because y'all were so young. So now that you guys are empty nesters, how did y'all reconnect, and did y'all learn things about each other, once your kids were gone that you didn't know, because you basically grew up together?
Yeah, I don't even think we ever disconnected. I think because we got married at such a young age, 19 and 20, we grew up, just like you said, together, even with our kids. So we were like the fun parents. Our kids would go to their friends' houses, and their parents would be much older than us. And so they would say, and they would love coming to our house. And, we were the fun house. And so in regards to our relationship, I think because of that kept our relationship relevant and in the forefront, because we did have such a strong bond. Even I think we became empty nesters in 2013. or something like that, 2014.
Yeah.
So we've been empty nesters
For
for
a
a
long
long time. And
Right.
so, so of course I've reinvented myself many times. And he is my number one cheerleader. And so, I try to find things to keep me busy. And he is, like I said, anytime I want to do something, anytime I want to, go off and do something else, he's always there to loan his attention or give me advice, give me money, all those good things. And so, I don't think we disconnected. I just think it's a continual. I'm trying to think if there's anything that we learn about each other. I do know that he is a great finance person, so to speak. Over during this pandemic, it's crazy. So much has happened. But what God is doing is he's still blessing in the pandemic. And so my husband came up with a plan to try to eliminate as much debt as possible, because we don't know what the next year is going to look like. And so he sat down and we have a finance book that he looks at it like twice a day. But we meet on it at least twice a month. And so we look at that. And so he sat down, he said, okay, this is the plan. This is the plan. So our goal is to be as debt-free as possible. So the beginning of 2021, let me just say this, because we're transparent. I had a Rover. I had a white Rover that I got 2 years ago in December. I love that truck, but I mean, it's just a truck. And so he came to me around my birthday. He was like, babe, we're trying to eliminate debt. We're trying to do this and this. He said, if we sell the truck, then we can save this and we can be out of debt and pay this bill off. And I'm like, okay, let me think about that, because this is my truck. And but since the pandemic, I think I drove it maybe twice.
Drove it twice
in like 6 months. And I said, you know what? Okay, baby, that makes sense. So you know what I did? Sold the truck because it's just a material thing. But by the end of this year, beginning of 2021, minus the house, we will be debt free from all that debt. And we wanted to. I'm telling you, it was painful. We had to cut this and cut that, but we have a focus. That's what I love about him. He has a vision for our house. He has a vision for our future. And, I may not tell him thank you enough, but I so appreciate the God in him for giving him the vision for our family, because now we're all about building generational wealth for our kids. And our son, he's been finance, and he'll tell us, we told him we are open book with our kids. So they know everything. And he was so glad when I sold that truck. And because he saw that the money was going out the door. So that was a lot said. So sorry about that.
Right. No, that's good. And I think the transparency people need to hear, people need to know, because there are a lot of people struggling with what you're talking about, because we as a people tend not to have those things growing up, or we see somebody else with it. So we think, okay, we need to do or have it. So no, that's a great testimony. I think that has helped a lot of people today. So no, that was excellent.
Yeah. Before we get into kind of our last little bit of advice that you guys have, Keisha, one of the thing that you were on the radio about was talking about, you talk about your side hustle. I said they're not side hustles. It is one of your streams of income. You are building rivers of revenue, streams of income. And so it sounds like you're following your passion with creating your business. So tell us about Her Dope Marriage and what is that, and what drove you to, number one, do it, and then how have you guys supported each other, or Chris, how have you supported Keisha as she's building this business?
So Her Dope Marriage came about in March of 2019. So it's kind of fairly new. It's still a baby. So I take care of it. Take care of it. And my husband, sometimes I don't give him enough time because I'm trying to take care of this baby on the side. But I try to make up for it in other ways. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying. But so Her Dope Marriage is something that I'm extremely passionate about. I want women to understand the purpose that they have in marriage. And sometimes we feel defeated because we don't do this, or we've seen this in the past, and we bring assumptions and expectations, well, unspoken expectations into our relationship. And then it caused confusion, it caused friction, it caused just so much turmoil. And her dope marriage is, that vehicle that's going to encourage women to be the very best wife that they can be for their husband. And a lot of times we try to mimic someone else's marriage, but no, you need to be the very best wife for your husband. And so, that's what her dope marriage is all about. I push content, and I say content because I'm on social media right now. And so I push content every day to inspire, encourage, and motivate. I want us to have healthy, healed, and whole relationships. And we as women, we have the power to speak a thing. I tell women all the time that, if you're mad, just think about it. If you're mad in the house, the whole atmosphere changes, So with that same power, can you imagine if you drop a prayer for your husband, if you stop, talking, silence sometimes is the best option when you're talking about marriage. And yeah, it's hard, especially when he said something, but listen, I was about to say listen, but listen, the word says that, he is won by our conduct. And I had to learn it the hard way. So I am speaking this her dope marriage. This is my testimony because I did everything that I talk about. I was the one that tore him down with my words. I was the one who didn't cook dinner for him and only cooked for my kids. I was the one that wouldn't talk to him for 2 weeks at a time. I was the one that wouldn't wash his clothes. I was that wife. I have been transformed. God has showed me that this is who I am. And not that I'm proud of all of that, but I am here because if I've done it, if God was able to change my heart, if God was able to show me how to love him the way he needs to be loved, then this is what her dope marriage is all about. So it's open to all women, even those that are single that want to learn how to do this marriage thing, I am here for that reason. I am extremely passionate about it. And she asked about, how do you support me?
Yeah. That's a good question, Tameika. And you guys just heard everything Keisha said, and you see how passionate she is about it, right?
Yes.
So she's very passionate about it, and she spends a lot of time on it. So, and my thing is, I had to, come, and I've been doing this every time she wants to do something. I'm very supportive of her. And what I tell men with who have wives or girlfriends that are entrepreneurs, that are grinding, that are hustling, trying to do their thing, is that you have to realize that even though she's center stage, you are backstage, and nothing can happen on center stage without the stuff going on backstage.
Right.
So everything that Keisha does, all the content that she pushes, the hours that she spends, it's no way she could do that without me supporting her backstage.
Right.
So she don't have to worry about the lights. Every time she hit a switch, the lights gonna come on. Every time she start her car, it's gonna run. She got gas. She has food every time she open the refrigerator. She don't have to vacuum. She don't have to wash clothes. She don't have to do any of that because I'm supporting her in the background. So I love what she's doing. I respect it. It's very important. It's needed. So I'm going to support her, backstage. And so I just, I hope she knows that, I have her back. So, and that's what I want men to realize. Don't be jealous of the gift that God gave you, just support him. And and it's not that I'm not doing anything, but running the house, my job is so important. Yes. So I have a lot to keep up with, the business side of it, our personal finances. So it's, you have to hire somebody to do this stuff if one of us, work behind the scenes. So whatever she wants to do, I got her back. So when it was my time, when I was out, doing my thing, she was very supportive of me. So it's my time to support her. You know?
And one other thing, he said something, it's seasonal. And I'm
Right.
glad you said that. So it was seasonal. So when it's his turn, I take a step back, I fall back. And so you have to learn to appreciate those seasons, because, you know, who's to say now in this season, yes, it is my season,
Right.
but who's to say when it's his turn? I never forget when we were going to move to Atlanta. And it was for a big time job for me. And my husband and I, we were at a church, and he came home. We were planning to move to Atlanta. Listen, y'all, I was going to be an ATL girl. I was so ready to get my clothes together, car together, all for the wrong reasons. But so God stopped us. And my husband came home one day. He said, babe, he said, I don't think we need to go. Now, by this time, we had already lined up a high school. We had found the house. We had did everything, got the money from my company. And we put a halt to it because it wasn't the right thing to do. At that time, it was my husband's time to shine. I didn't know it. So I took a pay cut. I took a demotion. I took a step back because it was his season. It was his time. And so we as women, we need to recognize when it's his time. You don't have to be always in the line, you know, in the forefront.
Right.
You know, and sometimes it's okay, like he said, to be behind backstage.
Right.
And so, yeah, so I just wanted to say that it's seasonal.
Amen.
And it really depends. So you need to be mindful and look for those I guess those areas whenever they do occur.
Right. Amen.
Yeah. That is so powerful, because it is really important. And I think that there are so many men who feel like I have to take care of her, and that taking care of her is doing other things other than supporting her dreams and letting her shine. So that's really powerful what you said. So my hubby, his famous last question.
So, as we begin to wrap up, first of all, thank you so much for being with us to this evening. So, my last question is: I always ask couples, what advice or words of encouragement or words of wisdom would you all give to a younger Keisha or a younger Chris growing up? I mean, you gave us some nuggets in the beginning, but as you begin to just kind of close out, there's some words of wisdom that you could leave with. Again, if looking back over time, what would you say to a younger Chris or to a younger Keisha? Either one of you.
Okay, I'll take it first.
Okay.
I'll tell younger Chris to be more, financial literate, I would say.
That's good.
We're doing well now. We're 50 years old, and so we've done a lot, but we could have been, so much further. I think if I would have took it, finances a little more serious, and did my homework, asked questions, and just respected the value of a dollar, and because growing up. I heard so many times that it's only a dollar. You know what I mean? And
Right.
You hear that now. When I hear that, it drives me up the wall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, knowing the value of money, and so I would tell young Chris just to educate himself more on finances, and and just put himself in a better position to take care of his family, and I think that's the main thing I would I would tell him.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Good.
I would tell a younger Keisha to watch her words. For me, this whole, the last, let's say 20, well, even 30 years, even now, you have moments where your words create, they inspire. But for a lot of those years, some first 10 specifically, I used them to tear down. And so that was speaking into my future. So when I spoke those things over him, I was just, speaking over my life.
Right.
And so a lot of times we don't understand the value of words. And so I would tell a younger Keisha, to watch your words, to use your words to create, because you are prophesying to your atmosphere. You are speaking to your life. You are talking over your kids. So if you talk bad about him and their father, then what does that say to them about who they are? So we all are connected, and words are powerful. And I don't think people understand that. And so for me, that would be the one thing that I would tell myself, almost 30 years ago. Girl, watch them words. Listen.
All right. All
Well,
right.
I got it. I got it. Well,
Good.
thank y'all. Thank y'all. Tamika.
Yes, definitely. Thank you guys. And Keisha, for those people who might want to follow you, tell them
Yeah.
how they can find
Yeah.
out about her dope marriage.
Sure, I am on all social media platforms at herdopemarriage.com. That's the website, but her dope marriage. And yeah, my email address is Keisha, Keisha, at herdopemarriage.com. Definitely, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and God is doing some amazing things. So check me out. And even if you don't want to follow initially, just go out there and look at some of the content.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll say, okay, let me follow this girl, because it is not me. It is all God. I ask God every day, what do I need to post today? And He gives
Right.
me the word.
There you go.
So
Amen.
Yeah,
How about that?
that's good. And definitely because of the nuggets that both of you have shared tonight, I know that people want to hear more and see your content. And I have to just definitely again say, like Jamie said, you guys have been a blessing. I mean, things that you've
Mm-hmm.
shared. I know Keisha, you said earlier TMI. That's not TMI because a
Right.
lot of folks need to hear that. And I'll be honest, there are a lot of folks at getting married at 19 and 20 and expecting a child. They wouldn't have stuck it out
girl,
years, not alone 30. And so you certainly are a testament to what God can do in your marriage and in your life if you allow Him to. So we thank you both for sharing, and we thank you for joining us.
thank you.
Um, and for those of you who are watching, we thank you so much for tuning in again.
Mm-hmm.
Please remember to go and like our Facebook page and certainly engage with us. Share this video because if you've been blessed, and I know you have, I know others will be blessed by what they heard tonight as well. So share this, invite friends to watch this broadcast, and like our page. And remember that you can find us every third Monday night here on YouTube or Facebook. And we are here all the time to be here to give you inspiration and show you that marriage is a partnership and that there is successful, strong Black marriages. No, they're not perfect, but they are what God intended them to be. So until next time, I'm Tameika,
And I'm Jamie.
and
We
we
are
are
the
the Devines.
Devines.